Hey, what's up guys, KSK here. Welcome back to another video. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to dual boot Zorin OS with Windows 11. Now this guide is one of the safest ways to set up a dual boot on any PC or laptop without any data loss. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to show how to remove Zorin OS safely from the dual boot. So make sure to watch this video until the end to avoid any confusion. Now keep in mind, I assume that your PC is running in UEFI mode with a GPT formatted drive. Now as per my testing, if you follow this video carefully, you will be able to successfully dual boot your PC or laptop with Zorin OS. The prerequisites of this video: you need a Windows 11 running on your PC or laptop. Next, you need an 8 gigs or higher USB drive to create a bootable disk with Zorin OS. Now lastly, you need to reserve a free space of 40 GB or higher from your drive. Now that being said, moving into step number 1. Now open your favorite browser and go to the official website of Zorin OS and download the latest version. Now by the time of recording this video, there are multiple versions of Zorin OS 16 is available. Now all these editions are based on Ubuntu 2004 LTS, now which means it can be supported for the next 3+ years with all software updates and security patches. Now for now, I will pick a Zorin OS Core Edition, and the installation procedure is the same for all editions. The next up, go to this website and download the Balena Etcher, which helps in creating a bootable disk with Zorin OS. You can also use Rufus. Now once it's done downloading all of the files, place them somewhere on your computer for easier navigation. Now go ahead and install Balena Etcher. To install Zorin OS alongside with Windows 11, you need to create a free space. To do so, open Run, then type cmd. Now inside the command prompt, type this command and press the return key to open the Disk Manager. Now Disk Manager is a place where it shows all of the connected drives to a computer. Now in my case, I have only one drive connected to my computer. The drive 0 is my SSD where Windows 11 is currently installed. Now I'm going to use my main drive to shrink a free space for Zorin OS. Now if you notice carefully, inside this drive I have only 3 partitions. The one is named as EFI partition, the main C partition, and recovery. Now I'm going to use a C partition to shrink a free space. Now in your case, you can shrink the free space from any partition. Now simply select the partition, then right click on it and choose to shrink volume. Now for Zorin OS, you need at least a 30 GB or higher. Now in this case, I'm going to allocate a 50 GB of free space for Zorin Linux. Now once it's done, you can see an unallocated free space, which is where we will be installing Zorin OS in a moment. Now connect your pen drive to the computer to create a bootable USB with Zorin OS. Then open Balena Etcher with admin rights. Then inside here, import the Zorin OS ISO and choose the USB drive and flash it. This process will take some time depending on the speeds of your USB drive. Now go ahead, restart your computer. While it's restarting, head over to the BIOS settings and make sure things like Intel Rapid Storage technology is turned off. Then save the changes. Now again, while it's restarting, press the escape key or F2 or F10 or even F12 on your keyboard to launch the boot menu. Now from here, you can select your USB drive. Now in this case, it's showing my drive as SanDisk. I'm going to choose this option to boot into Zorin OS setup. You can only use this boot menu option if your USB drive is not automatically booting into Zorin OS setup. Now, when you're inside the live setup of Zorin OS, you can try Zorin OS before installing. Now, for now, I'm going to proceed to installation. Now, just go ahead and click on Install Zorin OS. Now, first, you need to set up a language. Now, in this case, I'm going to use English as my default language. Then click on Next. Now, for the keyboard layout, choose the English United States as the default option. Next up, if you have a faster internet connection, you can take this option that downloads the latest updates and installs automatically. Also, enable this tick mark to install any third-party media codecs, graphics, and Wi-Fi drivers. Then click on Continue. If you are a beginner and don't want to mess up your partitions, or if you're installing Zorin OS on a separate drive, you can select the first option. That way, Zorin installer will automatically create a partition for you and install the OS safely. Now for now, I'm going to choose something else and show you a more advanced way of creating a partitions manually for the Zorin OS. Now here you can see all the drives connected to your computer. Now make sure you have selected the internal drive, which in my case is mounted as SDB. Now under this drive, if you notice, these are Windows partitions and do not touch any of this, which is going to destroy Windows 11. Now we're going to use this free space to create only 2 partitions for Zorin OS. To do so, select the free space and then click on the plus button. Then allocate the free space for the root partition, which is considered to be as a main system partition. And for now, I have 55 GB of free space, and I'm going to allocate a 48 GB for the root partition. Now, as you can see, we have done creating a root partition. Lastly, we need to create a swap partition. Go ahead, select the free space left and use it as a swap area. Now make sure under the file system, instead of ext4, choose the swap area, and you don't have to mention any mounting point for this partition. Then click on OK to create a Linux swap partition. Now swap memory in Linux is nothing but a virtual memory. If in case your system is running out of the physical memory, it's going to use a swap partition to store a memory addresses. Now, right now we're installing Zorin OS on the UEFI system, so by default it must be having an EFI partition. Now this is where both Windows and grub bootloader is located, and the installer will automatically install the grub bootloader into the system partition. Now all you have to do is just leave this option as it should be. Now click on the install option and accept the changes. Then choose your time zone and create a user account by entering the details. Now sit back and relax. The installation process will take 5 to 20 minutes depending on the writing speeds of your drive. once it's done, go ahead and restart your computer by removing the bootable media. Now, as you can see, this is the grub bootloader. Now from here, you can either boot into Zorin OS or Windows 11. Now for now, let's just boot into Zorin OS. Now, as a bonus part of this video, if in case you don't like Zorin OS and decide to uninstall, then reboot your computer to Windows 11. Now, inside Windows 11, open Disk Manager by typing this command or inside the command prompt. Now here you can see next to C drive, the two partitions which we have created for Zorin OS. Just go ahead and delete these partitions carefully, one after the other. Now once it's deleted, you can see an unallocated free space. You can then use this free space into a Windows OS by using an extended volume option. Lastly, we need to do one more important step to remove the grub bootloader from the EFI partition. And for that, we need to take a command prompt help. Just go ahead, open the command prompt with admin rights. Now inside here, type disk part, then type list disk. Now as you can see, this is my main drive. Now we need to select this drive by typing this command. Then type list partition. It's going to show all of the partitions present inside this drive. Now we need to look for a partition named as the system, also known as EFI partition. Now in my case, it's the first one. Now select this partition by typing this command. Then assign a drive letter to mount this partition. Now once the drive letter is assigned to the EFI partition, exit from the disk part. Now type this drive letter with a colon assigned for the EFI partition, now which in my case is letter X, and press the return key. Type cd EFI to change the directory into the EFI partition. Then again type dir to see the contents on this folder. Now here you can see both Windows and Linux bootable files. Right now it's showing as Ubuntu. That's because Zorin OS is Ubuntu-based Linux distro. Now anyway, remove this Ubuntu folder by typing this command. Now this indeed is going to remove all of the grub files related to Zorin OS. Now that way you won't end up facing any grub issues. Now once it's done, now you have successfully removed Zorin OS from the dual boot. Now restart the computer and you can see the system should boot into Windows 11 without any issues. And that's pretty much it. Now if in case you like this video, hit the thumbs up button down there and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and consider hitting the bell icon to receive the post notifications whenever I upload a brand new video. Also, if in case you have any suggestions, post them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching my video. This has been KSK Royal. I will see you in my next one.